How about those sets? Hello and welcome, dear skilled modelers, to my small hobby YouTube channel. My name is Tomo and today we're going to be taking a look at a Revell set. More specifically, this thing. Okay, so this is a Revell level 5 set that contains 3 airplanes along with paints, glue, and a crappy brush. You have the Lancaster Bomber, the Spitfire mk.IIb, and the Hurricane 2B. 3 planes for about 45-ish euros depending on where you buy it. This is a box that was released somewhere around last year where they celebrated 100 years of REF, and they just threw together kits that they already have, because you will see that the Spitfire and the Hurricane are really old molds. They're a little bit better molded, but they're old molds. They're like 1998. The Lancaster is 2007. And the reason that I know this is because it says on the wings. Level 5, so what's the deal with this one? As I've mentioned in my previous videos, leveling system on Revell kits is based upon how many parts there are in the kit. We've got level 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. This of course is a level 5. The only reason that it's a level 5 is because it contains a Lancaster Bomber which has a substantial amount of parts. The other 2 smaller airplanes are basically level 3 and they're a breeze to put together, if they go together. So part count is important, but the quality is also important. Overall, this kit it's okay, but it's not great. If I would have to recommend it to someone, I would recommend it only because it has like 3 kits and it's a good value for money in my opinion. The colors that are provided with the kit are basic outside colors, so keep that in mind, that inside cockpit areas you're probably gonna have to mix the colors that are with the kit if you're a beginner. But if you're already building anyway, you probably have your own paints, so you don't want to have to worry about that. The specifications for this kit are as follows. Now it's only time to take a look in the box, and then we're done. Behold, the Britsih Legends gift set. So this is the box. It's pretty big. Because it fits all 3 airplanes, but as you will see when we open this box up, they could have gone with a smaller box, to be honest, because everything is just kind of thrown inside. But you got this nice little box art here with the Lancaster, the Hurricane, and the Spitfire, and of course the markings or the picture that indicates that this is a set, and stuff is inside. As you can see, everything is just kind of thrown inside. You get this little bag of goodies with some basic paints, some brush, and of course Revell liquid cement, and then of course the Hurricane, the Lancaster, and the Spitfire, and some instructions in color. So let's take a look at the Hurricane first, and then we will go to the Spitfire and the Lancaster. Well, so the first thing, like we said, we're gonna take a look at this little Hurricane airplane. The molds are typically Revellish. They are better than the earlier castings, but they're still a little bit, nasty on some parts. But it's not really bad, that hugely bad. I mean, look at, if you can see here on the tail section, you can see some flashing on this little part. But other than that, other pieces are fairly well defined and molded, and the detail on them is pretty decent as well. Let's take a little closer look. And this is the bottom portion, of course, where the landing gear are, and then of course you can see the body of the airplane. You can see some nastiness here on the edges. I don't know how well this fits together. I'm guessing you might have some issues, but I am not really sure because I didn't build this one. So if some of you guys have this kit already and have built it, you can comment down below and give the community that watches this channel some more idea on how this thing goes together. So we have some fuel tanks, drop fuel tanks, and we got some bombs, and then we got the wings. You see the panel lines are nicely defined. They're not too deep, they're not too pronounced. I think they're pretty spot on in my opinion. Some people might disagree. You can still see some Revell quality on the edges, but overall it looks pretty decent for a Revell kit. Okay, and the last thing of course is this little canopy thing, which will give you some challenge of masking this little small windows, because you know they're individual little windows that need to be masked off. Or you know, if you're a lazy butt, you can just paint it freehand and then scrape it off with a toothpick. Okay, so this is the Spitfire. I think this might be actually a newer mold, because I'm guessing the older Spitfires, because I've built this type of Spitfire before, mk.IIb, and it wasn't as great as this one. Certainly the alignment issues were all over the place, so maybe this is still present on this one. But as far as the quality of the sprue and the cast is concerned, right here on this particular one, it is right off the bat much better than the one that I put together. Okay, so see, now that I say this, look at that. The propeller has issues, and that was also true on the one that I put together. But if you lightly sand this to a point, it shouldn't be that big of a deal. And also, this thing was present on mine as well, so the little flash on the front where the little spot is where you mount the propeller, that's still present. But it looks fairly decent as far as detail is concerned. Like I said, how well it goes together, you know, some of you might tell me, but I'm guessing they reused the old models, because yeah, it looks basically just like the one that I put together a couple of months ago, actually a couple of years ago, not months. So we have the fuselage, and then we have the wing section. Again, pretty nice detail. Not too deep, not too crazy, subtle. Some crap on the end, but that is to be expected. And then the cockpit, we have the instruments, you can see them clearly. And then the seat that is basically on the back wall, and the antenna, and you know, the control surfaces. So, and okay, the last thing is a little canopy thing. Oh, see, I kind of twisted it here, so that's not good. That's a bad thing, because this canopy, I mean, it's thrown in like the rest with the rest of the sprues, and you know, it can easily get scratched. But this being a, oh, see, damn it, see, it fell off. So yeah, it's not as clear. It's kind of crooked. It's not the best canopy in the world, to be honest. And see, the sprue ends here, so when you cut it off, you have to sand it, and be very careful not to sand the edge of the window, because then you're gonna have all sorts of problems. So if you're gonna sand this, and you probably will, I suggest you put some masking tape on the whole canopy, and then you just sand it until you hit the plastic of the frame, and then stop, because then it's gonna be too late. And here on this side, you see where the where it came off the sprue, here on the other side, this little stub is annoying, because it not only goes to the frame but also on the window. So it does look like it looks a little bit crappy, to be honest. But for building this your first kit, like, you know, if you're a beginner, or if you're a little bit more advanced than the beginner, you can learn from, you know, stuff like this. And you know, it's not going to be the perfect model, but you can learn a lot of techniques, and it'll be just fine. Of course, you have to mask all this stuff in. So okay, that's the Spitfire done, and then we have to just take a look at the Lancaster. Okay, so the Lancaster Bomber. This one is packed a little bit more carefully. As you can see, we have various sprues in different bags, because that's a little bit better. The plastic and the mold processes are basically the same. You still have some crazy ass flashing going on certain parts, but it seems, at least for the majority, it's better than the two smaller kits that we've seen so far. We have the little arsenal of bombs here. Look at this inside here on this little tube thingy. It's like you have to punch this little plastic out of its hole because it's filled up. The fuselage, we'll take a look at closer. You can see the detail on it. It's pretty good actually. I mean, the panel lines are nicely defined and pretty well formed. Let's take a look at the inside. You can see all the ribs and some instruments or whatever this is. Yeah, it's good. So these are the wings. The surfaces are nicely detailed with panel lines, panels. The surface area is nice and smooth. It's pretty big. Look, my hand, it can cover. My hand is big, and you know, this is a substantial airplane. This is much bigger than the Hurricane and Spitfire, so you know, you can kind of get a good idea of how big the actual planes are when you have them in the same scale like this. So we'll take a look at the control surfaces here. It's really nice that they actually made this portion the way it is, because you know, they simulate the wing surface that can move, and this little groove is not just, you know, shallow, but it's pretty deep, and it gives the illusion of depth. So that's pretty good, especially when you put a little bit of panel liner inside. It will be just fantastic. And on the inside it's like this because this goes together with two parts. This is actually, I think, a 2007 mold, so it's pretty old, but it's still good. And then we have another part of the control surfaces. I think these go on a tail, and we have the floor, and I think, yeah, these are the bomb bay doors. That probably, yeah, because you can put bombs inside. You can probably split this in two pieces, because look, if you look through here, it's very thin, so you just kind of saw it in half, or maybe just go with a knife throughout the length and then open it up and display the bombs inside. And then of course you have another one of these, which are the wings, and some seats and stuff. And even the seats on this one are a little bit better, because look at that. See, you got the little belt buckles and the belts and the armrests and stuff. I mean, this is pretty a good effort on their part, I must admit. I mean, I do like this. So, you know, we've already seen this. So this is basically that. And then of course is a little transparent sprue. This transparent sprue is much better, way better than the other twos that I've shown you guys, and you can see it from the video as well. Look at that. It's really shiny. It's much clearer. See? I mean, yeah, it's a little bit foggy, but it looks better. The surfaces, of course, are bigger because it's a bigger plane, but on the downside, you really have to mask a lot of this stuff out, and that will take time. But again, this is not a speed contest. This is a hobby which takes time and patience and dedication. So, you know, that's basically it. So these are all the clear parts. First off, let's take a quick look at the decals. Of course, you get one ginormous decal sheet of paper, and you get all the decals for all the planes, of course. As far as the quality is concerned, let's take a look pretty closely. I've seen better, to be honest. These are not the best decals in the world, and this little fogging thing probably, well, they might have problems when you put them on. I mean, this is a very recent print, but I've seen better decals, to be honest. I mean, you can sort of read certain texts, but not really very well. I mean, okay, I can see this no step sign, but the little fine things, you really have to have a magnifying glass. It's it could be better. But anyway, you know, you got the decals, you can put them on. Maybe for the Lancaster, you know, the decals are a little bit better because you have this, the cockpit control surfaces, you know, the instrument panel, the control surfaces, sorry. And the, you know, for the Hurricane and then for the Spitfire, it's basically, yeah, it's pretty standard. They've given us this little shiny, printed, colorful manual with all the breakdowns of all the screws and all the kits, and the assembly instructions are pretty well. They're very informative. If you've built recent Revell kits, you'll see that this manual is pretty good. So yeah, let's just quickly go through this. They say that all good things come to those who click and subscribe. So why don't you click and subscribe on my channel, and all your dreams will come true. Thank you so very much for watching. If you have been, thank you for liking, commenting, and subscribing, and I'll see you again soon in the next one. Bye bye.